Whoa. Okay, here we are. Let me pull up the comments first and keep track of who's here because it's obvious we are not departing on time tonight. This plane is taking off late. And that is what happens when we have an on site destination guerrilla style drop. We are taking the deep dive. We are doing a surprise guerrilla style drop in on Jeremy Kilburn. That's right. He's down at Zombie Palooza. So for anyone here that tuned in to see what is happening down at that event, this is the place to be because Jeremy's going to give us the lowdown. Stand by 1 second. I am manning the controls and a little rusty, obviously. All right, so we'll keep that up. StreamYard is running comments. Anybody in the live stream, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, and share. Get it out there. Hang on a second. Messages are coming in. Hopefully that doesn't mean audio is not a mess. We'll see what happens. So keep this going. Oh, yeah. All right. So we are officially wheels back up. That is right, people. After about 4 months of hiatus and taking a break, like we said, holidays and all that kind of stuff, going through January, or let's back up, going through November, December, January, all the holiday months, all the family stuff. Richard Kroon, how are you? I was just thinking about you today, Richard. Um, we need to get together. It is a shame to have you so darn close to home and we not to get out more often. And definitely, Richard, get your butt over here. I'd love to take you for a walkthrough, hands-on private tour of the new X2 Delta. Yeah, that's right, Richard. All those little fixes that you wanted, everything that you asked for, Richard. A little smaller in size, um, compact water bottle holders. We nailed it. We hit it out of the park for you, Richard. What's up, everyone? I see Mr. Kilburn hanging out there in the green room. Jeremy, you sit tight. We're going to come to you in 1 second. Let me slide back over here. You know what was a real bummer? I sent it to Jeremy earlier today. I spent a good few minutes, couple hours, editing together this cool intro video. But unfortunately, in the world of goofy technology, the MP4 just wouldn't upload. So we got our microphone working. We got clean Wi-Fi. We got some old sound effects to play with. I think we're back in the game. We're gonna have some fun. I don't want to do this alone. Nobody came here to see me, so we'll keep the comments open. We're going to make some room for our co-host this evening to slide in here next to me. This dual screen nonsense is taking a second to get used to. And this is the perfect segue for me to tell you all. Some of the things Jeremy and I talked about was definitely uh, quality over quantity. And that means it doesn't have to be a weekly live show every week. We feel we could get way more done, be more effective, put out much more valuable content that is easier to listen to and watch if we aren't doing it live. Give us a chance to walk through, edit it, and piece it together and make it look like something I would want to watch. That is the whole key. If you're doing YouTube, you want to make something that you would want to watch yourself. And if I'm cringing watching myself, I know it's bad. So, let's do this. Let's pull up our cool little screensaver or background. Bam, we got that, and we're going to make room for Jeremy to pop in here. I hope you're ready.
I'm as ready as I'll ever.
How are you, sir? Hang on 1 second. My audio is shot.
Boom.
Go back to here. Jeremy, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I got to figure out why I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Um, Go to here, go to settings. I probably hit something dumb. Boom, boom, settings and audio
Can you hear me
default.
now?
Jeremy, talk.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I got you. All
Cool.
right.
Cool. Cool.
All right, perfect. Hey, that makes all the sense in the world because I was tinkering around with these videos beforehand and I wanted to upload this new intro video and there was no audio. Well,
Oh,
guess what? Guess what? There was audio.
love it.
I
Love it.
love it. Technology.
It's a wonderful.
Um, it's a wonderful thing. But while I was logging on to StreamYard, this cool little notification popped up and it wouldn't let me go any further until I acknowledged it. And guess what? Uh, StreamYard is now linked to Instagram.
Oh,
So
cool.
that is very cool. Sadly, not tonight because it's going to take a hot minute to figure out technology and figure out how to sync it all together.
That's
But
cool. Then
that means
we can stream on our IGs. Cool.
right to IG, Facebook, Instagram, or did I say that right? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
Yeah.
all three, plus your At Ease YouTube channel, all at the same time. It's
Very cool.
literally like a tree that just kind of branches out, breaking down algorithms everywhere, and you're kind of
Mm,
you're in everyone's wall at once
yeah.
from one direction or another. So very cool surprise. I
Yeah.
like I said, I haven't logged on here in like 3 months, and all these notifications were popping up. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah. We'll call it a winter break.
a winner! I like that. We
Yeah.
we we hibernate.
Winter
We
break.
gotta the build season. I totally understand. We've been calling it build season forever. That winter build season is a thing. It gets a
Yeah.
little too darn cold outside up here in the north
Yeah.
to go out and do anything.
Yeah.
Speaking of weather, it is absolutely horrendous out here. I'm dying to know, is it
So we had that
raining?
yesterday and
Okay.
last night. Like last night, it was pretty brutal. Um, but by wake up time today, um, it was just a light mist and a little bit of, you know, we had overcast the majority of the day. And in Georgia, by the way, if you weren't tracking, um, staying, brought to you by Holiday Inn Express. But yeah, it was a little soupy. Um, I got in to unload all the booth stuff, and it started raining about a half hour after I unloaded, so I was blessed on that. But yeah, it was definitely muddy today, and yeah, but people were having fun. I mean, mud and RCs. What could be better? um, yeah, it was a little soupy.
I think we put up with a lot, especially if you're traveling any distance. You're going to make the best of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are you going to do? Sit around, bitch? No one wants to hear it. So put on turn your cheek and look at
Yep.
the glass half full.
Yep.
Uh, was that pavilion that you're set up under, was that plan A or was that an
That,
audible because of the weather?
so that was Plan A.
Okay.
So it was really nice. Setting your tent up and everything under a pavilion, just for nothing more than to keep dew off. Even if it was a great days or whatever, you'd still have that nighttime dew, and you know how that gets with your canopies and um, you
Heck
know.
yeah.
So it was really nice to be semi indoor. It's kind of like a workshop um, building. But yeah, it was fantastic. A little dark, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it was definitely Plan A.
Uh, it was a heck of a setup. Forgive me, it was a hectic day. I wasn't able to keep up, but obviously from the comments here, I think this isn't your first time live today. It sounds
Yeah,
like so
yeah,
you must have been doing your part to keep everyone updated. But from the photos you sent inside the pavilion,
Mhm.
you're spoiled. You're gonna want that every time.
I am. I'm going to demand it on all shows. Like they build a pavilion to put all the canopies up inside of. Um, and what's really great is uh, the guys putting this on, Scott Bray and Corey Allen and the rest of the Rock Zombies down here. They do a great job, and they're doing security for the event too. So they're there tonight, so we don't have to worry about our stuff. We can leave it set up, um, and it just makes morning startup a breeze. You don't have that lag time, every morning setting up for your event, setting your tables and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a really they got a good setup.
Well, I mean, look at the names you dropped. These guys are no
Yeah,
strangers.
no, they're pros. They're definitely pros.
Yeah, these guys are pro level when it comes
Yeah,
to an event. And you know, all the events that they've attended, they've seen what works. And unfortunately, yeah, you do need security because this
yeah,
kind of, I mean, bad stuff happens.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
an
And
ugly world.
it's on a farm. It's not a place I would go um, at night in the dark to go look for things that aren't mine. Like it's not that kind of area. Like you'd be pretty um, loose with it if you tried to get in there to do anything that it's not yours. So yeah, I wouldn't be messing around with that down here.
I'm gonna skip out of order here, but I had a laundry list of things that I wanted to put you on the spot for, and the first one is this tent that you were set up under. I
Yeah,
think we kind of glazed right over that very
yeah,
quickly, but for anybody that wasn't playing along at home today, you were set up under a boom racing tent
yeah,
and next level pro
yeah,
grade hell of a setup.
yeah,
The eye candy that you have on display, phenomenal. The display booth is amazing. Can you tell us, will this be a normal? I mean, is this the
yeah.
future right now? Will we see
So
you under a boom tent again?
yes, definitely. Um, I reached out, went back and forth with Jason from Boone Racing, and we both had a need. Like I want to do stuff for the RC industry, and I like to go to shows, obviously. Um, and he had a need to one, pay attention to his family as they're growing up and be present for that, which is extremely important, but also to put a front, out there in the local community, RC community, to also be present with Boom Racing AGTs. So we came to an agreement, and he sent me a tent and table covers and all that stuff, and I'm going to do events on the East Coast for him and help out the team for Boom Racing to get out there and be present in any size event. Really, we have some commitments pretty much throughout the summer and into the fall with a bunch of different events from Vermont to Florida. So yeah, I think the furthest west I'm like willing to drive because I'm driving, so I can bring those amazing trucks for the display. But yeah, it's probably the farthest west is probably like the Ohio Valley. Um, I'm going to try and stay east of the Mississippi, so to speak, with attending events with Boom Racing.
Because Jason has people. He had representatives that went to UST and have done this before,
Yep,
but now we're gonna be able to attack with more people.
yep,
But Jason is no dummy. Let's put the guy behind the booth that's bringing home the trophies from
yeah,
USTE,
yeah.
literally winning trophies with these boom trucks. I mean, you
And it's
know that
yeah.
platform.
So I own all the Boom Racing platforms. I have a BRX-01, multiple BRX-02s, the 109, the 88, all fantastic trucks. And I wouldn't dig in so deep if I didn't trust and really love that platform. Like I don't have five of any truck or any brand. I have a lot of brands, but having built all those brands and then building these, it's a different quality level to your build, and the detail that they give in the bodies really makes it easy for you to get that interior done and get the outward appearance, locked into whatever the theme is that you're building. And then uh, being able to print engine bays that are, they're either free prints or they're prototype prints that Boom Racing is getting ready to release, and really be able to fill out that engine bay. And I can still use all my Castle favorite electronics in them. I can use all of my Reefs servo product line in them, and they're all direct bolt ins, and they perform, they function as intended, and they're just amazing trucks that you can really fall in love with and really customize and make them show winning trucks because they're such high quality, and it really, they are amazing vehicles. Even the new Reefs, the Micro 55, throwing a shout out to Reefs, that Micro 55 is a direct bolt in into that chassis platform to replace the servos that are provided. And you pick up waterproof. It's still the same servo saver for the shifters. It's all, it's just a direct bolt in, and you really, it fits in with the chassis with all that aluminum and all that machining that's done, and it fits in perfectly.
Is it the case, the servo case that is unique
Yes.
that you're okay?
Yeah.
The size of it.
So the size, the bolt pattern, the spline count on the servo is all for that. So that servo also fits, like the Traxxas TRX4M platform. It's a direct bolt in. The TRX4 platform, it's a direct bolt in for all the shift servos. There's no, you have to sacrifice a servo saver or you have to sacrifice this or that for that shifting mechanism. It's a direct bolt in. The spline count's the same, and waterproof, and will take the high voltage. So if you've had a TRX4 before that uh, you've upgraded and you have a different radio system or whatever in there, uh, you're running that higher voltage, these servos will take it where the factory ones won't. They'll just fry and die, as I say. But yeah,
Well,
it's a fantastic addition to that suite of reef products that I love and trust.
and it feels so good to hear it from someone who's just not spouting out BS
Yeah,
because two reasons. One, I think if we look deep enough at the instruction manual, you're going to see you have combed through this thing more than enough times.
yeah,
You know it. Um, literally been a part of all the build prototyping,
yep,
telling them what went wrong, what doesn't. So you are a trusted source.
yeah.
Uh, no,
The 109, the 109 and the 88. My name's in the back of the book with a quote for a reason. So I'm blessed with that again. Like
literally.
literally, my name is in the back of the book. But prototyping that and getting it right, getting the instruction manual so it's correct as it can be, for that platform was an honor of mine. So, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do things like that. And that's, you know,
Wow.
this are major, you know, as I retire out, but there's that attention to detail that I bring, selling myself a little bit, but that attention to detail is easy with this platform, because, it's as complete and right as it can possibly be going straight into the consumer's hands.
Honestly, you should have more of a nickname, like literally Oz, like OZ Oz, because I think you are behind more curtains than people realize. And
I
I
dabble
am
and to dabble. Yeah.
honestly pay no attention to that man behind the curtain
Yeah.
because I promise you, we're gonna find you back there somewhere. You are deeply connected in a lot of projects behind the scenes, and you're not looking to raise your hand and get your name out there and be like
No,
me.
I,
You're just trying to help
Yeah, and
for all
and
the right reasons.
and honestly, I just enjoy RC. I've enjoyed it since I was 12 years old. I'm 50 years old now. So I've been around for a minute. I've seen a thing or two. I know a thing or two, but I love to see people enjoy, quality and really there's a lot of not quality stuff out there. So any chance I have to help somebody out, I'm in. I will help them as much as I can. I'm not all knowing by any means, and I'm not saying that, but I've seen a lot. Yeah.
Right. Uh, the other thing is, if you do not believe me, people, that we are speaking to a man that's in the know, the proof is on the table. I mean, some of the stuff that's on display there. If you have anybody that's in Georgia right now, you're very, very lucky, and I'm very jealous that you're not able to get a little closer to that table and stare at some of the details and all the time you put into them.
Yeah. Yeah, on
So,
that table between five trucks, that's well over 1,200 hours of
oh
build,
wow,
and that's they're labors of love, and none of those trucks I would give up. Yeah, they're life
damn,
keepers for me.
damn, there went that next question. All right. Um, the this is definitely a super scale kind of step. The when you're taking this next step into the boom world, I mean, ultra scale. Like the
Yeah,
detail, they got the size right. I've seen few brands, I've tried to do what they've done, but they're hitting it from every angle. They're getting the sizing, the detail. Now you're getting the scale and the performance with this servo. You're saying it fits, it's hidden, and it performs.
yeah. And these trucks, like I put brushless castle systems in them without a worry. And we're talking trucks that are they're very detailed. Um, the transfer cases that are available to make it shift from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive. Nothing is more scale on a trail than you're driving along in two-wheel drive and then you realize, oh, I need four-wheel drive, and you can just shift it from the radio flawlessly, seamlessly, without having to do anything funky. It just shifts, and it's so nice. And if you need some more wheel speed, just shift it into second gear because that's a factory option. Like it's
I
already
love it.
there, and the geometry is correct. They're all on leaf springs except for my BRX-01. That's a link truck, but all the other trucks are leaf spring. They all have anti torque bars on the front and the rear, so they're not wrapping leaves. They're not doing anything crazy. They're just predictable, easy to drive. Just they're fantastically engineered RC vehicles.
Yeah, the photos that you sent were phenomenal. We know, look, go to the Boom Racing fan page, go check out
Yeah.
Boom Racing. While you're on the next topic, I'm going to try and log into StreamYard again from my phone. And if I can do it from my phone, I might be able to throw some of these photos up that we were talking about earlier today. Fingers crossed, technology.
Give anything a shot.
We'll give anything a try. I'm just hoping something inappropriate doesn't pop up from my
Yeah,
phone.
be careful.
I
I
might have
didn't
videos.
I didn't send anything inappropriate to Mike. I'm just saying that right
I won't blame it on you, but sometimes I don't like to let people look at my photos.
now. Yeah.
Um, you did mention something in that sentence there as you were breaking down Boom, and what went into it, your reefs, your castle. If you haven't seen, Castle broke the internet this week with their 8 scale
Yeah.
uh, bashing setup, 8 scale
Yeah. Yeah, the
have
Cobra 8 system. So the Cobra is the next platform, obviously, that Castle's producing. And that, it's just the next level. They've solved some issues that people were having with these newer vehicles. They're, pre they their equipment was predated, so they had to catch up to modern expectations, I guess is the best way to say it. And they knocked it out of the park. The new eighth Cobra is fantastic. Um, they're now they have the gold edition coming out of that system, and there will be more down the line. As we get through these months. But yeah, I trust them. I love programming them. They're super easy to program. Um, yeah, I
Is
can't.
there new software that we're still using the
Yeah.
same Castle link?
So the Cobra 8, you can use the same one that you've been using, and there is a new software. It's got a different interface to it, a different look to it than what you've been seeing for the last 5-10 years, whatever. Um, so I really tried to tell them or to name it because I love naming things. I love to name trucks and come up with clever things. And I tried to get them to call it the Cobra Commander, but I think they had some issues with license on that copyright. Um, but if you're an '80s kid, you know what Cobra Commander is. Yeah, just watch GI Joe, you'll know.
Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe. But yeah, the new software is pretty cool.
But it makes sense if you could have the software commander, like you're literally taking. Oh,
Yeah,
darn
yeah.
it!
But it's very intuitive. It's a lot of drop down boxes like you're used to, but it's got a different look to it and a different feel to it. And there's that platform, that 32-bit platform, uh, is uh, it's a lot better, and there's more coming for it. There's a lot more expansion and tool writing that they can do as they really develop this. And they're doing a lot better with listening to customers and what they want out of a speed control. So they're very reflective and very learning, which is I love it. If you're experiencing something, learn from it. Just kind of like the Georgia Rock Zombies. They go to a lot of shows, they learn from it, they bring it back, they use it. If it works for them, they keep doing it and improving. And that's what you want in a company is are they willing to learn from their successes, failures, or whatnot, and their environment, their people. And that's fantastic.
Now everything with Castle seems to be sort of snake
Yeah.
linked with the naming. When you take your Castle hardware back to your software, you're taking it to the snake den. They could call it
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
den.
The snake pit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean,
Put a
they've been
pin in
carrying
that.
that Sidewinder moniker forever, and that's back. We're going way back, into the early 2000s with that.
And it just kept evolving.
Hmm.
And listen, that's great. We love to see companies try new things, never stay idle, and keep
Yeah.
evolving.
Just
Castle is here to stay.
yeah, and Castle, like the new Nano system. I think people are underestimating it. They're looking at like all these silent ESCs and all that stuff, but they're not looking at what else those speed controls can do. I run the Nano in several of the micro platforms with brushed motors. The Nano still runs brushed and brushless. So my Granite Grom, I run a Nano in it with a Reef servo, of course, and I'm running it at 8.4 volts with their Nano BEC. And wow, is that truck? It is faster than the stock system with the same motor because it's more efficient. And you know, I RC every day. Josh Dutton and Big Squid Jeremy Griffith are here talking to them. I might have got some Castle stuff into the uh, what's he calling them, shop trucks, getting them
Oh,
into his hand to show him the flexibility of using a small form factor speed control for very scale vehicles. It'll still push a 540 motor all day without overheating. So, you know, trying to open people's aperture a little bit to say, hey, this nano speed control can do a heck of a lot more than what people think. Just because it's small, it doesn't have to go in small trucks. It's just a different form factor.
Is there a weight, like a minimum,
Yeah.
maximum, like that you would?
So so it's not recommended that it's pushing vehicles over 7 pounds. But
Okay.
if you look at you know at RC Everyday's rat rods and the shop trucks, they're not
Yep.
they're well under 7 pounds. Um, it's a very light chassis. It's printed cross members and stuff like that. So it's a you know it's a to me it's a good fit. It'll be running my rat rod and eventually my shop truck. I'll do one my way, but yeah,
But what you're selling him on is the size and the convenience of being able to tuck this thing away and
yeah,
hide it in places that you don't have
yep,
to worry about it. And now we can actually drive it.
yep, yep.
I like it. So you have definitely been busy, busy, busy. Are you twitching at all? Are you shaking? Any type of withdrawal from your printer?
No, I got my fix in. So I printed two um, two canoes to kind of accent my builds right before I left, and
Yeah, and you
kind
don't
of
have one here, do you? There's no, it's not
yeah,
like we're on your home base that you can just
yeah,
pull it out.
yeah. I can't just all I can pick up right now is a cup of coffee.
Uh,
Um,
And what was it? Like a carbon filament?
yeah.
Like
So if you don't know, I'm running a bamboo X1
bamboo.
carbon, and that thing is amazing. It's made printing so much easier for me. I've tried in the past, and I learned from mistakes, and I learned that I'm lazy and I don't like setting up a printer every time I print. The bamboo kind of takes that out because it does all that stuff by itself. But here recently, I've been changing filaments and getting the art form down with different filaments. So one canoe I printed for I'm calling it my ghost truck because it's got a ghost mossy oak wrap on it. So it's ghost. So I printed one in uh, PETG carbon fiber CF, and it came out so so gorgeous. Like it has like a sheer, like a kind of like a I don't know what to call it. Like it kind of shiny, but it's still black. Like it's still black, but it's got a shine to it, and I love it. And it fits the theme of that truck great. And then I printed one out of uh, PETG uh, basic yellow. It's a very bright yellow, and that's kind of what I'm doing is just kind of printing in different mediums that are available. But I'm sticking with the bamboo filament line. I'm not, getting filament from Walmart
Okay.
or any place, Amazon or anything like that. I'm sticking with the bamboo stuff.
Well,
Just
they offer it all. I
yeah,
mean, there's
yeah,
every color,
yeah,
every type.
yeah.
Uh, the
Now they run
uh,
into some stock issues, like they'll, what you want might not be available this week.
Sure.
But the good thing is it's not a subscription or anything like that. But they give you when you buy it, they give you 6 months of the club pricing. So I get to buy 6 rolls a month at that pricing, which is fantastic. So I'm kind of stocking up a little bit. If I like one, I'll buy two of those just to keep them on the shelf, um, and that way I can go back to them later.
So, with your printer at home, are you keeping just one roll of filament hooked up at a time? Because I know that
Yeah,
you can do what, up to
four.
three,
I can do
up to four.
4 in the AMS, and I can do one external. So I can do up to 5 colors in one print if I choose to, which is wasteful because it has to discharge all
Uh,
that.
That's
Yeah,
why everybody made those hoppers, right? Like where it's
yeah,
catching the
yeah,
poop chute.
the poop chute. Um, and if you're using single color, it all it does is clean the nozzle prior to print when it heats up, and it nozzle from the previous print and clears the line. But yeah, my AMS, um, I can I have 4 in there, and those are under constant dehydration. But anything that I put on the outside is obviously open to elements. But yeah,
All right, so that answered that. The other thing that I have to thank you for is convincing me to change my print setting to that point oh 0.01, that point 0.1, that fine
yeah,
detail level.
yeah,
When you showed me the difference between that 0.20 and that 0.10, like after you slice it, literally, on average, obviously there's some prints that are a little bit longer depending on this,
yeah.
but overall, the average, there is not that much of a difference in time. And
The
to
quality is just outstanding.
it's completely different
Yeah,
when
yeah,
and what when we're printing, it's like we're printing for mass volume that we're selling them. It's like I don't care if it takes all night long to print. I'm going to bed, and if it's done in a half an hour or 6 hours, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Um, so I have to thank you for that. You really pushed me to go back and start reprinting a
Yep.
lot of crap that I've done before in the past. Um,
So
and
how do
try
they
it
say
again.
slow is smooth and smooth is fast? So instead of doing it twice or putting the labor in later with sanding and painting and stuff like that, just slow down and print it at the best quality the first time out of the machine, and all your prep work afterwards is reduced, tenfold. So
You're hearing more and more people say that the sanding and that after that post cleanup is almost being eliminated.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so, but what
yeah,
I'm super duper happy with that. Now it works for some files, and then obviously depending on what you're working on, that point two, you know what, you don't need that crazy detail. So there's a time and a place to play with the settings for
yeah,
everything.
yeah. If you're doing a test print or something, you can in the bamboo slicer.
If you're
I
still working out the
do it
sizing or of something.
exactly. You can set it to draft, which is 0.26, which is
Oh,
is rough. But if you're just looking for an external space, a rough measurement of something, like you can knock that out. Like, my
on
canoe,
the bed.
yeah, my
Yeah.
canoes, for instance,
Yep.
at 0.16, fine is it takes an hour and a half to print a canoe, and that's a
And is it
full
one
size.
piece?
Yeah,
It's
one
a
piece.
full size one piece. No button together, no
Nope,
gluing.
nope,
Okay.
all one piece. It fits the top of a normal 10 scale truck. Um, if I run that in draft, it's about 22 minutes. So, you know, if I run it in draft just to make sure that the size, which I did, I wanted to make sure that when it came out, it would fit the top of the truck. If it didn't, then I could increase or decrease the sizes. But it it came out so great that I was like, "Yep, ship it," and I put it on 0.16, and the time, yeah, it increased, but zero finishing. I just put it on the truck. So yeah,
Yeah. They look great from a distance, and I know I don't I don't have the bamboo, but the Creality K1 is in that
Mhm.
same
Yeah,
family of new printers that are out there, and I know exactly what you're talking about. That level of detail, and just
yeah,
let it
and
go. It's
and honestly, you having the K1, me having the bamboo, we it makes us both better because we get to learn from each other different things. You're using a different slicer. I'm using a different slicer. Like they're two different platforms, which makes our conversations better and more
yep.
quality. There's a lot more quality to them because we can see what's different between the two. And you have strengths, I have strengths, and they both have their weaknesses.
I
Um,
think the real test. I'm excited to put the bamboo up against the Creality K1 with this new world that I've stepped into here with drift cars.
oh,
This
okay.
whole drift car thing, and I'm blaming it on that guy Brad from RC Supremacy. You've seen him down at
Yeah,
UST putting these sideways shows on. I watch his Instagram, and some of the things that these guys are building is absolutely ridiculous. They are so cool. So I've slid around in basketball parking lots for years, just letting these cars
Yeah.
drift.
Yeah.
It's it's a completely different experience when you get on a 1 foot and a foot and a half wide track.
Yeah.
That being said, we're still at the early build stage, and this file from Knights Customs, this Hoonigan or Hoona truck file,
Yeah.
I'm excited to put the two printers up against each other.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen, I know the bamboo is more than capable. I've seen plenty of people with their bamboo bang this thing out. But there's going to be a lot of trial and error trying to tweak and understand
Hmm.
what way to print the arms, for example. Every arm moves. You feed a rubber band through it. So that's making the steering wheel turn, the
Yeah.
shifter. It's a very complex file.
Yeah.
And that's saying something when you're dealing with the Knights Customs files, because anybody new getting into the world of 3D printing, I tell them all the time, you want to go right away and jump in the ring and start doing Knights files, but take a minute,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Print a couple other files before you start doing these.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, James Knight is more than accommodating. There are
Mhm.
more than enough fan pages out there that you can get help on, but I'm telling you, when you don't want to ask for help at 1 o'clock in the morning and you're trying to learn this, start with something a little bit simpler, work
Yeah.
your way up to these Knights files. So I'm excited to see toe for toe what these two
Yeah.
printers do with this Huna truck.
And
And I
and like
want to get a camera inside and seeing this driver shift around.
yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the advantages of the bamboo is I have a camera in the machine, so I can watch it print anywhere in
Yes.
the world on my phone. So I can see it, being printed, and there's lidar inside of the machine that if it starts spaghettiing, it'll stop itself. Hopefully, um,
Does it work? I mean, be
does
honest.
yeah.
It does
I've
every
had
time,
I've had spaghettiing twice since
and it stops it.
and it stopped it. Yeah, it alerts me on my phone and says, "Hey,
Yep.
print paused." And then I look at the camera and I see the start of the spaghetti mess. And
Yep.
okay, like yep, cancel print. And then it cleans the nozzle. It prepares itself for the next run. It runs the bed all the way down. It's like okay, like reset. Um, but
I've
it's
seen it happen once for me where I got alerted, like, oh, something's wrong. Like, oh, wow, it worked.
eh,
But I'd say three other times since then, I've come out saying, oh, I got the green check mark, everything worked. Nope.
nope,
So I have to go back to the camera and look and see about when it all, broke free or what went wrong.
yeah.
So
I
it
like
doesn't work
posting.
every time.
Yeah, I like posting the time lapse because it does a time lapse recording, and I'm so spoiled with that. And it's so cool to watch something
It
being
is.
created out of nothing.
So
So,
that being said, when you go to slice your file,
mhm.
on when you're in your software and slicing it, you almost need to position the file for the camera, because there's so
Oh,
many times that my time lapse is blocked
by the
by by
by
the
the print.
trees growing up.
Yeah,
These trees grew in front of it, and it doesn't look like it's that cool. It's like
yeah.
I'm
And
like, now I'm gonna get sneaky. I'm gonna I'll slice it in a way that it poses for
yeah.
the camera.
So in the software, like the plate orientation in the bamboo software, it shows you where the front of that plate is,
Yep,
and a lot of software doesn't give you that visual. It's just a square, so you don't know
right.
what axes are in order to position a print. And some prints you have to print in a certain way, against the axis to one for
Oh,
efficiency and two
strength.
for strength.
Yep.
So you sometimes it's like, man, I really wish I could do that in time lapse, but for the quality's sake of the print, like it's just not worth it. Um, so it's it'd be nice to be able to position the camera wherever I wanted. Um, maybe that's a thing that I just don't know about how to do yet. But
Yeah, because right now mine's kind of fixed in that one corner. Um, I do have a second camera that kind of stares at the printer from above.
mm,
She's tied into Alexa, but the
ah,
time lapse is coming from the printer. Like
printer
that's
itself.
where the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where the cool stuff is. Uh, that being said, if I was you, I could take my headphones off and put them somewhere safe on a head like
Yeah.
that. I need to see that in the time lapse. I mean, seeing his head come to life
Yeah.
is
I did
what
not do a time lapse on that one. I took a couple
oh,
screenshots while it was being printed.
what
But I
was that, like 20 hours or something ridiculous? I mean, that's a
know.
piece.
So it's a little smaller than human head. It's a little smaller than my head, and I consider myself human, so it's a little smaller than me. But it's the full head of Thanos, and it's all the features in 0.16 printed with some detail in PLA tough. Um, and I wanted it to
PLA
look
tough.
statu. Yeah, I wanted it to look statuesque, so I just did it in silver, and it looks fantastic. There's
It
not a lot of
does.
infill, so it's super light. But that entire head took, I believe it was 6 hours on
6. Okay.
at
That's
point
not
one six.
horrible.
That's not bad. That's not
Not
bad.
bad at all.
Yeah,
Now, that's definitely cool. And those are the fun things to print. Those little items that
yeah. And
you know,
all I needed was a place to hang my headphones for my
how
new employment,
how
and
much overkill is that?
it was a lot. Like I could have done it with a command strip hook and been fine, and I wouldn't have been judged at work or anything like that for putting a command strip up. But no, I print Thanos head, so
Oh,
yeah, it
so
holds my
good.
glasses too, so it's kind of a two-in-one thing. So my readers, I just slide them right on there. Uh, but yeah, I mean that's the point of having the 3D printer is to do kind of express yourself and be able to do things like that and let your fellow coworkers know that you're not a serial killer, like you have feelings, things like that.
Uh, well, as you start printing more and more, and you start accumulating spools,
Hmm.
uh, I discovered over Christmas these spools are actually great for your Christmas lights.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know of any other things that you could do with your spools?
So there's a lot of projects out there for spool for spools, and bamboo spools are twist locks, so they're ready for refill. So you can drop your price point of filament by ordering refills, and your spool just unlocks. You open it up, you put your refill on it, and you lock it back together. And they give you the little, because they operate off of RFID tags. They give you the new RFID tag at the bottom of the spool, so the printer knows what's in it.
Oh,
Um, so
that's
they
how
have
it
the
knows what color it's
yeah,
printing.
yeah, and it knows how much is on the spool because it counts the revolutions of that RFID tag, and it can tell you how many grams are left on that spool, and it'll tell you if that job needs another spool or not.
Because
Um,
it's also calculating the cost, like
yeah, yep,
time.
yep,
It has a math formula
yeah,
for all that.
yeah. It's super wicked smart, which is why I like it because it's
It's like you.
it's doing a lot of work that I'm not willing to do.
But I'm super glad that it connected finally because I've seen you go through at least two printers
Yeah,
since I've
yeah,
known you that just ended up not
yeah,
sticking around. um,
yeah.
so I'm glad that it stuck, and I'm glad that you're having fun with it. So I think that's a segment that we can keep. What's on the
Yeah.
printer?
What's on the
Uh,
printer? I like
because
it. Yeah.
because there's always something. This one I did at last minute. This is it's on legs, on wheels. It's a computer cart. for
Okay.
inside your scale garage.
Okay.
Little computer
Yeah, I like.
monitor. It's very simple, very basic, for perfect for a scale garage. Right now, I'm working on running the cables from the computer tower. I'm gonna, really try and geek out on some of the
Yeah.
details, make
Yeah.
it look like it's actually hooked up, and then our
What are
friend
you using
Spear.
for? What are you using for wire?
It was from an old Ender 3 that I had laying around.
Okay. Okay.
It's a
So
donation truck. A,
so
do-
I
a,
find a lot with electrical cables at that scale. If you have any Cat 5 computer cables,
yep,
the Ethernet cables, and
yep.
you de-sheathe them, it's twisted pair inside, twisted copper, and they're about the right size for plugs and
I
on that
love
size.
it.
And if you get like scraps from a construction job where they run it inside the walls, it's a stiffer uh, copper, and you can actually shape it. I use a lot for spark plug wires and stuff like
Oh,
that
on the
because you
motor
can
bed.
shape it. Yeah, because you can shape it. But for um, the plugs into a wall or something in a scale
Yep,
shop, it's about
to
the
keep
same
that
size.
bend. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Uh, well, it's good to know that there's actually a use left for Cat 5 cable
Yes.
because when I moved into this house,
Wi-Fi everything.
I did. I was like, I put heat and air conditioning up on the third floor. I'm like, I'm adding so much value to this home.
Yeah.
I ran Cat 5 cable to every room in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have like a spool still left behind, but not no one in our house plugs into that.
I only have one phone jack in my house, and it was built 7 years ago. Like I have one phone jack, and you know where it is? By the
Buried somewhere.
by the electrical panel for the alarm system.
Oh.
That it's not even in upstairs. Like it's not there. It's wild how the world changes.
How it changed.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have a home phone number because it helped the cable
Yeah.
bill to just bundle, but
Yeah.
you won't find a phone anywhere around here.
No.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just for
weird.
our alarm system, and that's it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So this whole scale garage thing, that reason I did this part, and I'm focusing on that, is I'm moving. I'm a part of the witness relocation program, and I'm being forced to move. We're relocating scale garages. Moving sucks. It's uh, and I have a few skill items. So I'm in the process of boxing everything up. Everything's chaotic right now, and sometimes I look at a piece and I'm like, you know what? It's probably just easier for me to print a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not moving it. I'll just print a new one when we get to the new shop.
Yep. Yeah. Just put all that stuff in a box and take it to your next
Y-
swap meet
yep.
and
Yes. Here,
let it
the
go.
shoebox. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's valuable to someone.
Someone. Yeah.
Uh, But I do have to give a shout out to Bobby RC Garages. This cat took some time to, uh, and he does it for everyone. He's no special privileges here. He goes that little extra mile if you're ordering a garage. Tell me a little story about your life growing up. What are your interests? What did you do? Tries to get a little backstory on, something that will give you goosebumps when you look at the garage. I mean, down to the Def Leppard posters to a little replica of the BMX bike I had when I was a kid,
Cool.
standing up against the wall. These cheesy little extras, I, they might get, we talked about this. They might get buried. He doesn't know, where you're putting scale accessories, and that's the main reason why he does not like
Yeah.
doing this. He if he had it his way, he'd give you blank walls and
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
it's your job to put the stuff where you want it, because everybody wants him to put banners up and make it their own and do this. So he's like, the problem is you're going to realize it's in a crappy spot, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's going to get buried, or you're going to find out And he was right. I'm like, no, you're wrong. I want you to do this. And the second I got it, I had to
Yeah.
concede and call him. And I'm like, you were
Like you,
right. You win. I suck. I should have never put
yep,
that bike where you said.
yep, yep,
Um,
because that's the perfect spot to put my toolbox.
yes, I have like 5 toolboxes I could have put there, but that bike is going to ruin everything.
Yep.
So it's cool, but I understand the value in going to his website, picking one of the pre-made laundry list of scale garages he already has, and people, you will be more than
Yep.
happy with the new print design that he's done. He's the first time I looked through my phone at the garage I was looking at, I almost dropped my phone. I'm like, wait a minute. I think my overhead light is in the way. Like I was like, there's just a glare. And Dreamer's like, no, that's the garage. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, it's the overhead light. I'm trying to move it out of the way, and I look back down. I'm like,
Yep.
holy shit, Dreamer, you're right. It's the detail built
Yeah.
into it. Crazy,
Which
very
is
cool.
which is fantastic. I mean that I'm not a scale garage guy. Like I got
But
scale
you've
garage stuff.
watched him come a long way. You've
Yes.
watched in
Yeah.
the last 2 years. You've seen this
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen I've seen it, my fair share
Uh,
of scale garages. I've had a few failed attempts at doing it or taking photos. And it's just not in me. I put more time in the trucks than I do in the what.
Dollhouse.
I'm fine with taking a picture of my truck on my workbench, like, and people pick up little things that are sitting on my workbench, and they're like,
Oh,
"Hey, what's
that's the
that?"
whole
And they
point.
blow it all
Yes.
up. Like, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo sitting on my workbench. That's for future projects because that's what I use my workbench for is projects. But yeah, that's fun. I me personally, like I don't like giving up bench space to things like that, and I want to do kind of like what RC Everyday does. I kind of want to emulate that, where he builds in that garage, which is fantastic. But it's I get it. Like he's got drill marks and all that stuff in there that you see, and that's what mine would look like. Like yeah, just I like that. And if I was going to do one, that's probably how I would do it, and just make a dedicated work surface that I know is going to be replaced at some point. Um, but yeah,
Well, if you do it like smart and pre-plan it like a strategic analyst would, he would, make the floor removable and
removable, so you could slide it in, slide it out, or change it, or yeah, that might be something that I get to down the road. I really enjoy my work table that I have now. It's from IKEA and it's electric, and I can just push the button on the side and it changes the heights. So if I'm doing airbrushing and stuff like that, I lower it down so I can get that different perspective, or raise it up and be able to do the detail without having to lift the truck up to do that work. And I to do that with a scale garage, like stuff would be falling all over the place.
right, right, right. Uh, but yeah, like you said, if you do not find something in this hobby to connect with, you must not have a pulse, because there's something for everyone.
Yeah,
Some people are gonna connect to the photo and video side. Some people are the truck guys. Some people
yeah,
are in their dials. There's painters. There's
yeah.
electronics.
You
There
know,
is something for you.
and I pride myself to watch. I spend a lot of time watching YouTube channels and getting a big variety.
For
I
someone
watch.
as old as you to say that
Yeah,
is a big statement, because
yeah,
old people don't watch YouTube.
yeah, yeah. While my vision's still good, I want to see everything that I can. Uh, but it's that widespread of enjoyment that you capture when these YouTubers are doing their thing, and it's theirs. It's not a copy of someone else's. It's genuine, and you really feel that passion come through, and it makes it enjoyable to watch. And I like to see that, and that's part of my enjoyment of the hobby. Is I like to see other people enjoy the hobby which is why I love to go to shows, which is why we're talking. Like
Yeah.
it all comes full circle for me. So, you know, if I'm at a show like this at Georgia Rock Zombies, it it's enjoyable because I get to talk to people, uh, you know, one on one, and they ask me questions or they ask me, "Hey, how did you accomplish that?" And I get to see it, and I learn stuff from these guys too. Like I, a fellow Operation 11 Charlie guy, he has a truck build there that they're raffling off, and yes, I bought tickets because I really like what he did. But he used cinnamon as a
Oh,
agent, and it looks so good. Like it's right at that point where it looks like a car is about ready to get a hole in it from rust, but it's not overdone. It's and it smells good.
it
Like
smells so
so,
good.
so like you know all the caustic stuff that we put on these trucks to make it emulate like rust, and he used cinnamon, and I hadn't seen that before, and you know it made it very enjoyable for me because I got to see something new today, and that's what life is about. You know, what did you do new today? So it resonated with me very much, and I had to show other people. I was like, "Hey, come over and look what he did." So,
And it's funny you mentioned that. I was weathering some stuff today. I used cinnamon, paprika, and one other one, and there were these like subtle different. The other one was probably some sort of seasoned salt or something, but the cinnamon, like you did
yeah,
not mind getting it on your
yeah,
fingers and
yeah,
smelling it. I've been snorting cinnamon all morning, and the I just liked the color, the contrast, and I messed around with seasoned salt forever. A little hairspray to get it to stick in place, drizzle it on. But I don't know who did you say that you saw did that tip?
it's another fellow veteran of
Oh,
Operation.
okay,
He's there. I you know, without permission, I don't want to say names, but
that's fine.
it's just a fellow veteran that's there at the
They
booth.
saw it. He
And
might have seen it from Crawler Cult. The guy did a Thursday night show. Mark from Crawler Cult was showing this trick with the cinnamon.
yeah,
That's where I heard about it, and it's genius.
yeah,
I love seeing, but going to these events, picking up on little tips and tricks from people is
yeah,
brilliant. I
yeah.
think we should add another segment to the show, Mr. YouTube King over there. I think if you bring back maybe a suggestion or maybe something that you saw throughout the week that you would suggest people to watch, because I know you are often hey, go sending a
Yeah.
link, check out this video. But that's, getting out what other people are doing, that might be
Yeah.
a useful segment.
Yeah, I
um
got a shout out from another channel that I had never heard of, and I was like, "Wow, how did you come across my channel?" And you know, it was really cool, and I do like that. You know, I do I pay attention to a lot of the hobby industry. I see a lot of the stuff. I mean, if you're not watching Scale News, I mean, what are you doing? But
right.
it's just those things, and I'm a forum member. I have to slow down on Scale Builders Guild on the actual forum. They still exist, and they still have a lot of quality because you can track a build from start to finish and not have to rely on Facebook history and algorithms burying things. Like you can continuously follow these builds and subscribe to them.
Okay.
And if you're looking to build or become a builder, like that's the place to go. That's where you want to go. But anyway, this guy shouted out my channel, and I picked up like 100 subscribers overnight, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
But it was just that simple shout out of somebody that just enjoyed my content, and he was like, "Hey, like this is an up and coming channel. Just go see what he's doing," and picked up 100 subs like that, and that's a great way to to get some of these smaller channels a boost. The big channels are the big channels for a reason, but if you shout out a small channel once in a while, like you're pushing the algorithm that I hate so much. But
but
it is what
it
it is.
helps.
The way it works.
And
How he came across my channel, I have no idea. But it's you know it's cool to see that.
that that's awesome. That
Yeah.
So I think that's going to bring us to the tail end of this week's show. I'm going to end on something. I think it's going to be in our best interest to try and keep these things around an
Yeah.
hour because
Yeah.
we've had our. It starts to turn into these marathons, and
Yeah.
at what point do we start
We
to
just
tail out?
got to save something for the next time.
Exactly. And I have a list of stuff I want to get to. But I think what you were talking about here with watching other shows and trying to find something that makes it unique, um, that is the key. Do not copy and paste what other people are
Yeah.
already doing. That's going to fall flat. Uh, and you're not going to be yourself or find the energy to want to do this each week
Yeah.
because you know the amount of work that goes
Yeah.
into this. It is very time consuming. It's not cheap. There's so many pieces to the puzzle,
Yeah.
but we have way too much information of different things going on that we're working on throughout the week. It's just almost a sin to keep it quiet and not have a little fun and poke a little fun at each other and see where we go. And I do think from the unboxing perspective as we get the opportunity to review and play with something new. As much as you want to see on Tuesday morning the bigger shows and they're no you every Tuesday when a new product drops, it feels so much like a Groundhog's Day to me.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over. I think what we're going to try and do is give this a more rad perspective and give us a little opportunity to, drive out to meet up halfway somewhere, play with them a little bit, and come back, 15, 30, 45, 60 days out and still
Yeah.
giving updates because you're doing this with
Yeah.
the one platform that we came across with the Leaf Spring. I think that still has to be your most watched video you did
Yeah.
doing the how to, and you were doing leaf springs on that truck before it was cool.
Yeah. But it's just that video does really well, because it's sought after, right? People think, hey, how would I do this? And
and
they try.
that
Yeah.
truck's making a comeback.
Yeah.
They re-released it in a, I guess, unlicensed
Yeah.
version,
But
or I guess that's not right.
yeah. But
Um,
that truck is the same platform as the FJ40 that they did. So it's the same thing. And both of those videos, the FJ40, the running video that I did, where I put the camera inside the truck to show
yep.
how the leaf spring changed, like that one does really well because people want to see what is the result of that modification. Am I making it better, or what should I expect? Is normal,
Is it?
you
Did
know?
you turn it into a
Yeah,
turtle,
yeah.
or is
Did I
it?
did I ruin another truck? And sometimes that's a realization that I make is like, hey, I modified this to the point where I actually made it worse. Sometimes I do that on purpose because I like driving junk like that is hard to drive because it challenges me as a driver, but it makes it more realistic in its movement. So it's a trade off. When I say, and I got hammered for this when I said I ruined my CJ7 and it was Harley's fault. It was Josh Stevie's fault. Like I got hammered for that, but people didn't understand the joke.
Oh,
The joke is if I say I ruined it, it means I made it better
oh.
beyond the platform's design. Like I ruined it as an SCX 10.3 by changing the transmission over to a VFD. Like I ruined a 10.3, but I made a better truck. So it's a joke.
Right.
It's an inside builder joke. But yeah, people hammered me for that. They're like,
Wow.
it's not his fault. Like, yeah,
Oh,
but I said I made it better.
and I think that leads me to some of my things I cringe on about social media is because I see people making comments over things that are like this far over their head right now, and they
Yeah.
have. I've seen them literally shitting on K&K Hardware as they're talking to Mike Kirby.
Yeah.
I'm like, I give up.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
people just,
Yeah. Sometimes the learning curve is a sharp turn,
yeah,
and they
get
hit the tree. Like it
get
happens.
some miles under your belt
Yeah.
before you just go out shitting on everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
be careful. You don't know who you're talking to all the time.
Yeah.
But that's just one example of things that you
Yeah.
see with people applying opinions when they probably should have just kept it to
Yeah. Yeah.
themselves.
Well, if anybody comments on my videos, I'm gonna hit the little the
Yeah,
little like button, because I
right.
appreciate you taking the time to tell me off or to say good job. Like, I appreciate your time investment there. So I'm still gonna like it even if it's something terrible. Just
We-
I'm I want good vibes out there, and I thank you for teaching me and setting me straight. I appreciate
I
it. I really do.
you can take a page from RC Jesus's playbook and just get the comments of hate coming in
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah,
He
I'm good
he
with it.
does it just to get the comments. He's like, dude, keep it coming. He'll piss people off just to get the
Yeah,
comments.
yeah, yeah.
He's no dummy.
I'll paint that VS 410, Alex Chalmers red. I'll dip it right in a 55-gallon drum of paint, shocks and all.
Uh, that was like years ago. That was
Yeah,
like 7, 8 years ago. And Matt looks at him like, what? But the internet hates you right now.
yeah. He spray painted that whole truck, and I've done that. Like, I've done it on military trucks because that's how they're painted. Like, they're just straight painted over everything. The paint will chip off of shocks, and it's not going to hurt the O-rings or
But
whatever. But
and
it's just,
then
yeah,
he was all in on the idea too. Like he thought it was the greatest idea ever. No,
yeah,
I'm painting it like this international tractor
tractor. Yeah,
here.
it's the theme of the build. It's a tractor. That's how we paint tractors. Like, you just paint
Oh,
everything and then scrape off where you don't want it. Yeah,
oh goodness.
I love Nick.
Hey, yes. Oh, nothing better.
I'm sad that he's not here because it's just,
Well, nothing's the same without him.
yeah,
Like,
it
yeah.
just changed. Everything just goes up to 11. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, we will have a chance to give the Brad Show something unique, something recapped, different, whatever we're trying to mess around with. I think it will be fun
Yeah.
to, give it our own
Yeah.
spin on something. Now, before
To
we
the
let you
people,
go,
to the people watching,
yes, this
if
is
you want to see something different or unique, or me, Mike, or you don't know either one of us, like, what do you want to see that you haven't seen yet, that's legal, ethical, moral, because I won't do anything other than that. But it's like, if you want to see us do something, a how-to, or a best practice, or whatever it is, like, let us know. Drop comments, and we'll try and accommodate.
and the comments are perfect for this because these are the things, everything we started talking about with the boom, with the castle. This is the chance to really
Yeah,
get some one-on-one feedback. There's no one better to ask, I promise you. And even on a DIY side of it, if we want to show somebody how to solder, I mean, this is
yeah.
the guy that's
I can show you how to turn a mini Bic lighter into a exhaust system.
you.
Um, the wiring for the engine bays, that kind of stuff. Like, I've been doing it for a long time, and I've seen other people do it different ways, and we can help.
I
You
like
know,
it.
yeah,
I mean, it goes on and on. There's, as I'm sitting here thinking of all the things that you've done over the years, it's fascinating.
WeatherTech
And
floor mats.
I can't believe you went with that one. That was the one that was on the tip of my tongue. That is perfect. So tomorrow, before you, well, let me say it this way: tomorrow, what's on your agenda? What's going on at Zombie Palooza?
Yeah.
Do you
So
have?
tomorrow morning, gates open at 8. If you're in the area, come on out. We're going to hit trails tomorrow. A couple of us are, we watched the trails today evolve from slick, muddy, to packed and ready. And tomorrow is all about driving trails. So we're going to get out, drive some trails, of course, run the booth, but we're going to get the trucks out on the trails and enjoy the day. I think midday, like they got barbecue on site, which is fantastic. There's there's vendors there. Dixieland RC is there selling kits and parts and everything. RC Every Day is selling rat rod kits. Um, uh, there's
J
tons. J
Concepts.
Concepts is there. Yeah, J Concepts is there. They kept me warm today. I bought a sweatshirt.
Is Reef
Um,
set up personally or somebody
so
managing his
the
booth?
booth is open. There, there's various people working the booth. Corey Allen's in the booth a majority of the day. There's lots to do. 11 Charlie's here on site. I can't. I'm drawing a blank. FMS, of course,
Yeah.
is here on site. It's
Yep.
their FMS-table.
But
There's tons to do. There's tons of room to do it. It's very spread out. There's Monster Truck Park, so you can run that. And then they're doing a bunch of giveaways. They had a really excellent donation with the SCX6, and it got combined with a J Concepts tire set and I believe a Beast 2000 servo for it
wow.
and a 422 shift servo. Like it's all in there, and that ticket comes
Wow.
with your admission. So there's
Nice.
you can buy more if you choose to, but just by coming and running the trails, you get a ticket and a chance for that.
Is it a
Uh,
honcho or the Jeep?
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
which one it is. It'll be here tomorrow. It wasn't here today. But there's lots to do, and the raffles, of course, at the end of every good show is always exciting. So I think it wraps up at around 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. The gates 6 o'clock, the gates are done, the show's over. So I think around 4 o'clock is the raffle stuff. So yeah, if you're in the area,
Perfect.
you know, look it up on face page and get the address and come on down. It's worth it.
I dig it. I like it. And tomorrow is the last day, I'm assuming.
Tomorrow's last day. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, this event was something that they've been working hard on. So I hope
Yep.
for good weather tomorrow. I wish you guys all the best. Everybody out there at Zombie Palooza, we're rooting for you. Have a great time. And Jeremy, keep doing what you're doing, sir.
And you do the
And
same.
we will reconvene. Same
Yep.
bat time, same bat channel.
Yep.
We'll be back.
Yep.
We'll hold you to it for a recap next week, and we'll
Yep.
say farewell, y'all.
All right.
Perfect. Just stand by. Boom. Boom. Remove you. And I'm going to remove me. We're going to close this out of here with a big farewell. And thank you, everyone. Bear with me. I got held up here in the comments, and my mouse is not working because no one wants to see me. Bear with me. That did not work. See, and this is why we're going to get away from the live because I could photo, we could edit all this out. That is the glory of a live. All right, so bear with me. We're going to turn this off. Bam, turn that off. We're going to do a close video outro.